What is going on, the woodwork experience? Now, I know you guys are just as excited as I am about getting onto document 15, which is the development of ideas sketching section. So like I mentioned in the previous video, there are a bunch of sections that deal with development of ideas. So let's get straight into it. And for this, we're going to have to crack open this template page. Now, this template page is going to look pretty fancy and look something like this. From here, go File, go down to Save As, and save it as 15, development of ideas, then sketching, just so we know exactly what it is. We're then going to come across here, and I know in the past we've always written the same title, but it's not going to be the same title this one. It's going to be called Initial Sketches. Now for this initial sketch section, it's actually going to come through and we're going to put in our initial sketches that we've done. Now you can do this in a couple of ways. Number one is you can actually put the physical sketches in, which is something I like to do. I like the physical sketches being in there, but of course, it makes it harder when you're putting your folio together, unless, of course, you're printing out as you go, as you fix this stuff up. And so then you're going to come through and add these in. Now, I always like to have those centered. And the very first thing you're going to note here is that under our initial sketches, I've got basic designs. Now, I've only done 4 of these, but honestly, you probably want to have like 15 of these basic designs, maybe 20, with a very simple evaluation for each one. Now, if you go through and color code it, it makes it easier for the marker to see what's going on. And when I did this one, I did negatives and then positives, and I think I should have done positives and negatives because it's a natural way of thinking. So definitely keep that in mind. After you've gone through and done these, now, like I mentioned before, you want about 15 or 20 of these. You want to go through and divide these up. Now, if you haven't figured it out, I'm doing this for a desk, for a computer desk. So from here, you want to go through and divide this up into its sections. So the next one would be tabletops. And I haven't gone through and evaluated these, but you surely do need to. So you want to have these same kind of quick evaluations just added in under each one, stating why it's good, why it's bad, and potentially anything else you could add to it. So think about that. Then we want to come down and we want to do legs. Now, once again, you want to evaluate each of your leg designs. So it's all about this evaluation process, which is kind of annoying since this is the sketching section, but the evaluation is key in the HSC. So we've got to keep going. Now, then after that, you can come down to storage options. And as you can see, I've gone from 2D to a 3-dimensional kind of view. Now, I'm not great at sketching, I'm not going to lie. And these are about as good as sketches as you'll ever get out of me, the best sketches you'll ever get out of me. But this is effectively where you're starting to highlight various sections. So you're now saying, oh, there's a drawer here, there's a storage hole there, there's another drawer there. You're starting to expand so that the marker can see the journey that you're going on. They can see different ideas you've put up. And these, where you're starting to state what they are, that does not count as an evaluation. You still need to have an evaluation going on. So I would say for this initial basic design section, you probably need 15 to 20 designs done like this. From there, you can then go to tabletops or breaking it up into its sections where you can probably get away with 5 or 6 designs for each one of these. Legs, once again, if you're evaluating, 5 or 6 is fine, but make sure that they're intentional legs that you might actually use. And then storage options, once again, 5 or 6 options is probably plenty. The reason we start off with more for basic designs is because you're wanting to scope out a range of ideas and then pick your favorites where you're like, oh, I actually like that, or I really don't like that one. So after you've done all of this and looked at different things, you're going to come down and come up with 3 or 4 options that you'd like. I think 3 is a good amount, but 3 or 4 is fine. 1 or 2 is not enough because you want to show that you're considering different options and coming up with different ideas. So as you can see here, I've come up with a couple of different designs here, and by me, I mean my friend did. I know I'm terrible at drawing, and so I had a friend sketch these. So the very first thing you've got here is you've listed it as design 1, then you have design 2, design 3. You've got your drawing here, which is large, and it has some measurements on there, some basic measurements. And then you've potentially thrown in some ideas where you're like, hang on, maybe this could be square or rounded. So just some design changes there. We then come down here and you list the features, the fabrication techniques, and the positives and negatives. So if we were to come to desk 2 here, we've got the desk sitting here, and as you can see, it's got a storage cavity here, it's got a shelf here, and it's got a nice curved legs coming up and over. So what are some of the features? Well, the large open storage cavity beneath the desktop, the additional shelf for monitor or knickknacks, You've got curved legs for aesthetic features and a minimalistic desk. So all in all, they're the basic features of this desk. Then you come down to fabrication techniques. So we talk about things that you're going to be able to do whilst fabricating this. So you'll be using some templating for the curved legs. So you'd come up with a template to create these, which is kind of cool. You might use miter joints for the desktop. So to create that cavity, you might use some miter joints in there. You could use other joints as well. Then you'd come down and you could use potential dowel joints to connect the base in. Or, as mentioned above, you could use a housing joint for the shelf or a housing joint for the cavity sitting there as well. So once again, you're looking at different options that you could potentially throw in there. Now, I've only done 4, but you want to be thinking about as many things as possible as how you could make this, because this is your desk and you're trying to show that you're not only thinking about the design, but also the fabrication process. Okay, as we keep going down here, we've got positives and negatives. You guys can have pause the video and have a bit of a read there. Nothing too hectic there. Once we've done that, okay, we've done our multiple designs, 1, 2, and then the third design down here. Alrighty, so onto the ongoing evaluation. Now this one can once again be quite lengthy because we're really breaking down why you've selected the design you've come up with. And so it goes the one I've kind of thought as a bit of a demo goes, after considering a variety of options and further viewing them in a 3D sketched view, I've decided that the most appropriate option is Design 2. I've selected Design 2 for the following reasons. First of all, while I'm unsure of how much extra time outside of normal class hours I am able to dedicate to fabricating the project due to family, sporting, and work commitments, and therefore the simple design should definitely be able to be completed within the set time frame. The design allows for a variety of additional modifications to be made if time allows. For example, drawers, recessed mouse pads, wireless charging units installed, and LEDs installed beneath the table for visual effect. Another idea is that minimal timber is required to make this desk, resulting in a more cost-effective product with a minimal draw on societal resources. It allows me to show off a variety of skills with the basic concept and even more if I get time. So that'd be if I get time to add any extra features. That's probably what it should say. And then finally, you always want to be drawing back to the criteria to evaluate success, which you completed earlier on in your folio. So for that, you could definitely just link back and click on that. And you'd want to say which page it was on as well. From here, it says, well, you list the criteria and say which ones it's ticking off. So that's what I've just done here and listed this. Now you can of course go through and read this, but I don't want this video to go too long. So guys, get in there, get sketching, get evaluating, make sure to evaluate, and of course, be intentional with sharing as much information about each of your designs as possible. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Woodwork Experience.